All right, guys, my name is Jag, and welcome. Thanks for stopping by. We had about 25 people registered, and look how many people in the room. So you're the action takers, which is good, which is very good. Uh, are you guys here for the Instagram, right? Instagram for business, which is good. So you're right place, right room. We're going to talk about good stuff here. What are we going to talk about? So look, at the end of this workshop, what I want you to get out of that is just to understand how you can actually help, or some of the strategies which help me grow my Instagram. So I come from a background which was a corporate background. I'm just a business owner, the guy who understands a bit more technology. But what I did last year, a couple of years ago, is started to play around with this social media, just for my purpose, for my business. And this was my intention. Last year was about February, March last year, I created my first YouTube video. If you go back and look at it, I've now done about 100 videos, but that was pretty crazy, right? I did it and I posted it on YouTube. I didn't know what to do with that. I just posted and see how I'm going to do it. After 1 year, I look back that video, looked pretty hideous if I look back, but I still posted it just so I can actually see the comparison, right? What happened within that 1 year. Big improvement where I come from. I'm still not at the level where I want to be, but what I do is, one of the biggest thing is sharing, right? This is what I believe in, and I share quite a lot of stuff. I teach quite a lot of stuff. I come from a background that I've struggled for a long time. I created my first business or technology platform in 2001, so I'm a technologist by profession and work at different technologies. That's why we were talking about the technology thing, if you guys heard of her. But this is my background. This is where I come from, right? So because I come from the technology background, I started my first business in 2001 when I built my technology platform. That didn't go well. I built it about 14 businesses or 13 businesses, and I failed miserably. How to actually find it really hard way, how to actually succeed in the business world. Because I've been to the university. Who's been to the university here? I've been to the university. I've spent about 15 years in my university life as well. Done all the masters, graduate diplomas, bachelors, whatever you name it, I've done it. One of the things which I haven't learned, how the hell I should run the business. Nobody taught me, no information was given. I done marketing management, I done human resource subjects. I've done all the subjects sort of stuff, but nothing helped me to run a business. That's probably the reason I failed and failed. One of the things which I learned along the way, which helped me quite a lot, is um, before that, I was trying to do everything myself. I was doing everything, whatever comes in the market, whatever I could do by myself. The only thing I learned along the way, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. One of the biggest thing, the advantage we have in this world at the moment is a lot of people have walked that path. What are you trying to do in your life? So we don't need to reinvent the wheel all the time. What we can do is see what been successful in the past, and we go out and follow that people, what they have done. That helps us rather than doing it. So I did it trial and error for so many years, but now what worked well for me is just see who's done it, make them my mentor, make them my coach, and ask them how you did it. I usually say it at the end all the time, but I'll tell you right now, a coffee or cup of coffee can change your life. If you are doing anything right now and you don't know how to do it, ask other people for a coffee. They are pretty generous people in this country. I can tell you now, I've done so many times. Now I'm sick of coffee. I drink like 3, 4 times because I got used to it so much. But ask for a coffee, right? People are so happy to give you advice. Whatever you want to do, there are probably so many other people that are. But let's come back to the Instagram. So what I did is, YouTube was my first video when I started putting my content out there. Didn't understand how to do it, but Instagram, when I started playing around with, I just liked Instagram. That was like, I liked the look and feel of it. I started working through the Instagram first. When I started, I had about 12 or 14 followers. Whenever they liked my photo, I got really excited. So I had that buzz which most of us have. We started to actually feel happy about when you get notifications. But after 3, 4 weeks of getting ting, ting, ting notification, I got so sick of that, I had to actually turn it off. But I had to actually work through it, what I want to do. So I did about, say, 6, 7 months, I just posted crap. Whatever comes in place, I just posted. There was nothing behind it. But I learned a few things along the way. And today I'm just going to share all this, what I'm going to talk about, that have been they're available on the internet as well, right? You guys can find it, Google it, look at YouTube videos. There's hundreds of things. So I'm not going to talk about that, what's available out there. What I'm only going to talk about today is what worked for me. just me as an example, what worked for me, so that you guys can copy it as well. You don't need to reinvent your own wheels. Doesn't matter which country, or sorry, which business you're in, whether you're running private stuff, whether you're running your own things. Um, I'm going to mostly say business just because I'm from a business background. But what I'm going to talk more about on this space is if you have a personal account as well, apply that learning on your personal account as well, so that you guys, the same principle, but apply it on your personal as well. So today we're going to talk about Instagram, right? So hope you guys in the same room, in the right room. Before I get started, I just want to thank our sponsors. This event wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have our sponsor. GSE, the Global Supply Chain Community, is the sponsor. They've been sponsoring our events for a while now. And few of the events we do it here, some of the events we do somewhere else, they provide all the resources required to make things happen. Because you can imagine that at the back end we need this room, we need a lot of other stuff happening behind the scene, we need advertising, all that, they make it happen just for one reason. We want to share that information with other people. So GSE is the company who does it. Very quickly, I just want to give you background of it. We were talking about blockchain earlier. So I want to give you guys a bit of information about these guys so that they have a bit of benefit as well, so they get the name out. So some of the stuff at the back as well, you might want to pick it up on the way back. You want to see what they're doing. I always had a problem with one thing when I bought something from our local market. I'm a very big believer of buying local, and I buy like furniture local, I buy organic food locally, I do all that local stuff, right? Just because I like it. You don't have to. One of the things which I found really hard in that sort of area is when you buy something local, you don't tell or can't tell the authenticity of the product. It's really hard to say. If you buy this chair, you can't tell where this chair come from, whether this chair come from Toowoomba, whether this chair come from, I don't know, China, somewhere other part of the world. It's really hard to say, but just looking at the chair, right? If you're paying $5,000 for this chair and people saying to you it's made in Toowoomba, you want to make sure it's made in Toowoomba, right? You get the real product you wear. So what these guys are doing is they're fixing that gap which we have in the industry by using the technology called blockchain. Do Google, find more about it, blockchain, what it is. Cryptocurrency is the world which people know more about it, but blockchain is the other world, which is a technology behind it, which is changing the world at the moment. We talked about briefly about my introduction when I created my first platform. So as I said, I'm a technologist. I apply everything and look at everything from a technology perspective. So I share one of the biggest insight I created personally by looking at different trends. So that trend or these trends might help you as well. If you remember 1990s when we had the web just came in, right? Internet was just getting introduced. We had the thing called platforms at the time. You heard or seen a lot of platforms getting developed at the time. eBay, Amazon, all these platforms were getting developed and people were jumping on these platforms and they made really, really, really good businesses out of that. These were the platforms after that. What happens after that? So when platforms started to disappear or people started to come out of the platform, thing called social media started. We had a lot of social media websites came in, and the timing for that was about 2003 or 4, where we had the big spike started to happen. The Facebook got introduced, Twitter came on place, all the other ones started to happen. That stayed till 2010, 2011. Stick with me, don't kill me for this. The reason I'm saying is 2010, 2011. When I say the trend, that was a trend, people jumping on board on something, right? A lot of people were logging on, creating the user IDs. Now we have users. So we're not jumping on board on anything, we have users. That's what we're talking about, trends. At the time the trend started. 2010 was a trend, when 2011 was a trend, when social media trends were actually started to go down. Usability went up, yes, we still use it, but the trends came down. But what happened after that? Cloud came in place. Everything was cloud. If you're part of the business, everything was getting all moved into clouds. We were one of the few in this country who actually adopted cloud and started building things on cloud and sold one of the companies which we built it. And then we came out of this. So what happens in 2015, 2016, or last year? Last year was the major year for technology called blockchain in this country, especially in this country. I'm not going to talk about the US. Things are a bit different in the US and the other parts of the world. In this country, we had a blockchain. When it started to build blockchain, you probably have seen a lot of people started to invest money in cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency became the number one thing in this country after that. So these are the trends are coming. So if you are one of those people, you're applying, working for somebody else, look at it how you can actually apply the same technology at your workplace. But let's look at this thing, right? The global supply chain, these are the guys doing it. If you'd like to know more about this company, what they're doing, their website is gsc.global. Register on this. They'll find out more about what's going on. Let's talk about Instagram now. Who's got an Instagram account here? Yeah? Cool. Do you know how many monthly users we have on Instagram at the moment? Any guess? Around the world, yeah. Billion? Yeah, around that. Yes, we're about 800 million users plus. So this was about last month. So 800 million active users worldwide at the moment. Let's look at Australian stats. This is the Australian stats. 7.7 million people. Look at it. 18 to 24, 25 to. If that doesn't make you jump on board for Instagram, I don't know what else. If you are a part of that, I'm going to keep saying about business world just because business is nothing in today's world other than building your personal brand.
Just quickly, can we download this information? Is going to be available?
Now you can take photos. That's not going to be available anywhere. Feel free to take photos. One of the Instagram is, as I said earlier, I'm going to keep talking about a business world just because for one reason. If you're building a business today, you're building your personal brand. And personal brand, there is no or nothing better than building a personal brand other than Instagram today. Just for one reason. When you're on a Snapchat, the way the app's been designed is one-on-one conversation. If I know you, I'll talk to you directly. There is no way I can discover you on Snapchat. On Instagram, you can be discovered. You don't need to be known. I don't know many people in the world. I don't know many people in the US. I don't know many people in the Europe, that side of the world as well. The only thing I know, the tricks worked for me, writing something nice and putting pretty cool hashtags and doing some other stuff as well, which I'll talk about it. But that's why I don't say don't do Snapchat. Please do use Snapchat as well or any other tool or other social media you have available. But if you have to choose and if you have a less time to do it, my recommendation for this country would be use Instagram, please. Just because you can be discovered. If nobody knows you, you don't have a business or you don't even know, nobody knows you exist, right? So you need to make sure you can be discoverable, right? People can see you. So who owns Instagram? Facebook, right? How many users we have on Facebook? 2 billion, right? More than about 2 billion, right? Nearly 2 billion users. Mark Zuckerberg, when 2011 acquired Instagram, anybody knows how much he acquired for? $1 billion. At the time, people said, oh, crazy, $1 billion. Who acquires an app which is only 2 years old or a year and a half old for $1 billion? Guess what? How much worth today? About $38 billion. Right? So he was not stupid. He knew it, people are there. He tried to acquire Snapchat so many times, but wasn't able to get it. Instagram, he was. Right? So now Facebook is still the mothership of everything. Right? Everything, every data is on Facebook today. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether you don't believe in their Facebook privacy, whatever they do, they're still the mothership. Join them. You can't fight them. So join Instagram if you don't have it, right? So that's why there's a lot of people on Instagram. Very quick introduction about me, right? So my name is Jag Jassel. If you haven't get it, my Instagram is this, Jag Jassel, @JagJassel. I started working on Instagram account, my personal account in 2017 for the first time. I did have an Instagram a while ago, but I never used my Instagram for very specifically for business purpose. As I said earlier, I learned few things along the way. I started by myself. I didn't have any backing. I went to the university. I found that there's a huge gap between the education I received at the university and also the education I needed to be successful in life, in business, outside the university. Nothing sort of worked for me. The only thing worked for me is going and catching up and asking people questions that what worked for you. Can I please share those ideas? Can you please tell me what worked so that I can actually apply them as well? That worked really well for me. So I don't actually know the reason you guys are here, right? I don't know personally know you. What's the reason behind it? Whether you want to grow your personal Instagram, whether you're looking to start a business, whether you were just sitting at home doing nothing and you decided that let's go check it out, something else is probably different, or you're single, you're looking to hook up. I don't know, right? What's the reason behind it? But my reason for this is I just want to share that information. So I don't want to be like a classroom lecture, right? That I'm just teaching, teaching, teaching. There is nothing to teach. You guys pretty much educated people. Go and find on YouTube. There's a lot of videos out there. But what I would like is please ask questions. So what we can actually do an interactive session. Whatever you're going to ask, it's going to help other people as well, right? So think of you, not for your, yourself. Think of other people in the room as well because they are looking for that information as well. So if you got any question, please raise your hand. Please ask me anytime. Don't need to sort of wait till the end.
What I would ask is, are there different ways of posting?
Yes, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah,
Yep. There's a different styles and different ways. We'll talk about that. But one of the things which I want to set the standard right now, and this is a standard I want you guys to follow it if you're going onwards or start posting anything on Instagram. This is the standard you need to keep. Good enough isn't good enough anymore. Average stuff does not work. If you are an average with anything, it's not going to work. So you need to learn to stand out. And I have to sadly say that that's not your fault right now, just because for one reason. That if you don't know how to stand out, it's not your fault. We all been to schools, right? We all been to unis, whatever. If you've been to school, if you've been to uni, one thing you always learned, don't stand out. We all wore the same dresses. We all wore the same uniform. We all went and started the school at the same time. We had a lunch at the same time. We finished school at the same time. We all did the same thing together and together. Whenever you were naughty in the class, whenever you trying to do something differently, teacher didn't know how to control you, you were punished for that. Where I come from, I got beaten up. Pretty much. Yeah. So that's what happened to us, right? So I know it's hard to stand out. If you are average, if you are same as other, that's not going to work on social media. So you need to get or let your creativity out of that. Give you an example. I've heard a story. I don't remember the name of that dentist now. There was a dentist who is in New Orleans in US. She started to use Instagram and Musically. Who knows Musically here? Yeah? She started to use it. I don't know the name of her, and I read it in a book. So what she did is she started to create tiny videos for people and started dancing around it in her white jacket and made that music and Instagram famous with her stories and everything. What happened with that is now kids, young kids, because most of the young kids are on Musically at the moment, about 13, 14, 15-year-olds, they love that music stuff. Because they are there, they started to tell their mom and dad, I want to go and see this dentist. So she made dentist cool. We don't like to go to dentist, right? It's always pain because I got beaten up all the time saying that, dentist, whenever I go there, she always sort of talks about what I should do and I'm not doing it. What's going to be bad about it, right? So that's why she made the dentist look cool. She shared her life with that. One of the things which I really admire, and I heard this long time ago, and what happened to me when I started doing 2017, when I started posting stuff on Instagram for the first time, I actually found it really hard. That it's just freaking lot of work to do. It's not easy to do, and it's a lot of work. You got to put a lot of effort in to do it, and I couldn't do it. And first 3-4 days, I was really excited. I wanted to put stuff in. I was really doing it. But what happened? Life came into place after that. My job, my business, whatever things I was doing, I just stopped posting it. Things started to go down again. So what do you do to make yourself so that you post every time? Can somebody share me tricks? Or I should?
Automated?
Ooh, all right. We'll talk about this right now. Instagram and Facebook, please do not automate anything because users are really, really, really clever. If you automate something on using Hootsuite or anything, that people know that by because a tag comes at the bottom saying it's been automated. It's been posted using Hootsuite or any other tool you have. That doesn't look nice for your brand because you don't take things or you don't have a personal touch into that. If that's your personal account, I'll highly recommend it posted or get somebody to post it physically for you. But what for you to do to actually start posting it? So I'll share what I did, right? Every time I wanted to post, I wanted to create something because I was doing something different. I was like trying to create something. Either it's a photograph, either it's a code, either it's something else. I was trying to create it. But what I learned along the way that I need to start documenting it rather than creating it. So I started to document what I was doing rather than creating it. So if I'm sitting here, standing in the room, I'll take a photograph. Does it make sense? Right? So what we're doing is wasting so much time thinking that I have to create a content for posting. I need to create. Don't create it, please. Document it. The moment you start to document what you're doing in your life, you'll see it's not going to take much longer to do it because whatever you're doing, post it. Whatever you're doing. Because what people want to see is you. They don't want to see the crappy other stuff, what's happening out there that you're trying to create. Post you, who you are. I post even I'm having ice cream these days. I know people like it. Right? So something you're doing, post it. You don't hide away from that. Well, we're going to talk about some of the strategies which I used. Right? And they're not certainly all of them, but we'll talk about very deep so that you guys can understand and can relate to that as well. Number one thing for Instagram is, just want to keep an eye on. Number one thing for Instagram works is you got to make sure the purpose of your Instagram account. The reason I say purpose of your Instagram account is what's the reason you have that Instagram account? What are you trying to achieve out of that? And that is not only for your Instagram account, that applies to anything you do in your life. That's for Facebook, that's for your business, that's for everything. What's the purpose you're doing? What are you doing? If you haven't figured that out, spend a bit of time to figure it out. What's the purpose? If you're doing or becoming a human doing, please don't become a human doing, become a human being. Because what you need to become is think before you do it. Don't just keep doing it. Right? So what's the purpose of your Instagram account? There are two types of accounts in Instagram. Business account and a personal account. If you haven't sort of worked it yet, the business account, Instagram prefers from business perspective. Instagram want you to have a business account. If you don't have a business account, Instagram might just start posting it up there saying open up a business account or switch to the business account. Please do switch to business account if you have a business behind it, just because a couple of other reasons. You get a lot of visibility of that. You'll be able to promote it. You'll be able to put your website onto it. You'll be able to put your address, call of action. You'll be able to sell tickets using Instagram if you have a business account. If you look at this event, I don't know where you guys booked your tickets, but now on Instagram, they just opened it up last week that you can actually click on my Instagram profile and book these tickets. So they've done really well with that. So open up a business account. And also if you have a Facebook page for your business, that directly links to your business Instagram account as well. That's actually a very good tool to have it. Each time I always play around, and this is just for me to just learn about how the Instagram works, I actually switch to personal account as well a few times. Personal account, my call to action, and also my location, my website, everything disappears. The only thing stays is just what I put in my profile. So personal account does not have much information. So switch to business account if you can, because that gives you more accessibility of Instagram tools. Right. Just raise a hand who's got a business account on Instagram. Yeah, okay, cool. So these are some of the examples, right? what you can actually do the purpose of your Instagram. You might want to copy it, take a photograph of it, just so that you guys know the examples available out there. What it does is, if you know your purpose, increase your brand story efforts. These are the purpose, right? Could be purpose behind your Instagram as well. Improve audience engagement, generate consistent marketing income, increase your product sale, drive more traffic, convert more people to the email list. Anything could be one of that, your reason of doing Instagram as well. Right? So find what's your reason, why you're doing it. Have a specific, a very, very specific goal. What do you want to achieve out of that? I'll tell you my specific goal, right? My first goal for Instagram last year, by mid last year, I wanted to have 1,000 followers. That was my one goal. When I actually got my 1,000 followers, I said, what do I do with 1,000 followers now? I wouldn't even have a clue to do it because I didn't have a proper strategy behind it. Why do we do what do we do? What's the reason we have Instagram account, right? If you guys are running a business, if you're building your personal brand, you're trying to sell something. Right? So if you're trying to sell something, please tie that back to that. What are you trying to sell? Whether you're trying to sell yourself, whether you're trying to sell your product in the market, whatever you're doing, please tie that back to that so that you can actually see the real value of what you're doing. Because if you have followers value, then it's not going to be good in the long run because you can have followers anytime. One of the things which I've heard so many times, and I always make sure people don't take that path. It's really easy to buy followers. You can buy it anytime. But what Instagram and Facebook started to do now is started to actually punish in a way to actually not let their post go outside, because if you've been followed by bots, Facebook trying to find those people now. So you're going to see a lot of effect happening to your account if you've been bought, or if you have users or followers which have been bought. So please don't do it. Apply some of the strategies. It might take you 3 months or 4 months. You're going to have real people. Tell you what happens, the biggest thing I've learned as well. One of my friend had about 61,000 followers and he only had 12 posts. Right? 61,000 followers and only 12 posts. How? He bought it very clearly, right? You can see that 11 or 12 posts and he bought the post. What happens is, because you bought it, it actually kills your image in the market. If I say it, if anybody else say it, people know that now. They're not that, people, pretty much everybody on the social media is really educated now. There was a time when people didn't actually know much about it, but a lot of people now know what they're doing. Right? So don't buy it, spend a bit of time, apply some strategies, and have real people. You might have only 10 people, but if those 10 people giving you the business or giving you something, that 10 people are better than having 1,000 people which have no use at all. So have those people, please. So what's your strategy? So who understand this terminology, content versus context? This is a terminology which I will sort of talk more about it. What I did earlier, right? So when I started posting on Instagram, very, very early stage of my journey, I actually put a lot of content in there. Way too much content. I was posting about 5, 6, or 7 times in a day. So lots of content. But my content didn't have any context. Right? So I want you to reflect on your social media strategy as well. What's your content context? What is your content context? Because if you don't have one, your content is zero.
You're referring to the quality of the content.
Yep.
And what's your intention of, what's your message trying to send across?
Sorry, repeat the question, please.
The context.
Yep.
It means you trying to.
We'll talk. Yep, this is what it is. So the content is what you create. Content is the meaning attached to what you create. So what's the meaning you're attaching to what you're creating at the moment? So don't just post it. Please have some sort of meaning behind it, the reasoning behind it. Right? Content marketing is delivering quality information to your audience. Context marketing is delivering the right information to the right person at the right time. So don't publish content, have a context behind it. What we mostly do is, sorry guys, what's mostly you do is, or we do it, or I did it a long time, right? I just kept putting content, and wasn't seeing any reaction from a public, just because there was no context behind it. So this is very public. I got it from the internet, just because this sort of reflects what I was trying to say in just one diagram. What he's saying is, who is this content for? Where will your audience receive this? When will it be delivered? Why does your audience want to need this content? And what kind of content are you creating? Anything you do, this is not Instagram again, so anything you do, who, where, when, why, what rule applies to everything. And you can take this slide, apply, fit into anything. Doesn't matter what you do, whether you work for somebody else, whether you run your own business, who, where, when, why, what applies to everything. Why you do what you do, who is the content for, where your audience receive that, all that is very generic, but what I want to do is, I didn't have that. So, give you my example, right? When I started, because I didn't have any strategy, I just started to put content out there, and like most of the people do it. We just start publish content, and we see what people do. I usually say, the strategy we have as normal people, other than the companies, we just pray and pray. We spray it and we pray, right? So because you spray and pray, that somebody might catch that drop. So don't have that kind of approach. Have a very, very specific content marketing strategy. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to get out of that? So when I started I had the similar sort of stuff. I started putting my content. There was nothing I was getting it back at all. There was nothing. So what worked for me is finding my target market. Right? My target market, I was just putting content and tags and everywhere else. But when I started looking, who's my target market in this local? I was creating the courses, I was working with local people, I was running the events local. So I didn't actually need to attract people who are in the US or who are other part of the world. So I needed to tell local people. So it worked two ways. One is I started to promote my Instagram everywhere else. Like wherever I went, I promoted my Instagram. That was the first thing I was promoting with my email marketing, with everything my Instagram was doing on. But then I started to use a thing called hashtags. Hashtag works like crazy. Who knows that now on Instagram you can actually follow hashtags? Well, okay. So you can actually follow hashtags now on Instagram. And when you do it, what happens is you, like yourself, there are a lot of other people in the same area. So I started to target on very, very specific niche area within the hashtags as well. And the other thing I used really well, which is a location tag. Always, always, always use location tag, because what happens is, I live in Point Cook, the west of Melbourne. I always use hashtag whenever I'm posting something from home. What happens with that is, I got contacted by so many people, local people who lived in that suburb, saying, we work for this, can you come and speak at our event? I said, how did you find me? Oh, I live in that suburb as well. I saw you in there. I saw you in my stories. Because not that many people are doing stories in that suburb. I was probably the one guy or few guys who are doing the stories. So I popped up pretty much every day. Because I do like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 stories a day, or even more sometime, right? So use the location tag wherever you're at. So we'll talk about two other things after that about stories as well. But let's look at this hashtags, right? These are the main popular hashtag on Instagram. This is, I got it from Instagram. They tell you which are the popular ones. One thing which I realized, don't just put these hashtags for the sake of putting hashtags. Because when people are, your Instagram works exactly the way YouTube works. I don't know if you guys are aware of YouTube or Facebook rules or the algorithm behind it. The way it works is, YouTube the same thing. If your video is really cool video and it gets viewed by so many people, when you put really nice video for the first time and it's a YouTube, whether it's a Facebook, gets viewed by so many people, a lot of people start liking it, sharing it, and the other video you put, it's right at the bottom, nobody watches it, only 2-3 people views it. What happens is, the way Facebook and YouTube works in that algorithm basis is exactly the same thing the way hashtag works on Instagram. You put some photo which is nothing to do with love or photo of the day or cute or anything, but you put it hashtag, the first time the reach is going to be quite high. The next time Instagram is going to find out it's not relevant to that post, and your post is going to get punished, and it's going to be right at the bottom. That's why the impression's not going to be there at all. So use the relevant hashtag. I'll give you very quick hack though, so you guys can apply it tomorrow, or today when you leave from here. Um, Whenever you post anything on Insta, you'll probably be writing everything with your hashtags and everything and posting it, right? Change that from tomorrow. Whatever you post on Instagram, type whatever you want to type, but don't put any hashtag in that and post it. And put your hashtag in comment section. Okay, the reason I'm telling you this, when you put your hashtag in comment section, how many hashtags you can put? Does anybody know in Instagram? What's the limit? 30, yes. So we have a 30 limits. What you can do is when you have hashtag in the comment section, you can remove your comment and put another hashtags after 5-6 hours. So you have a 60 hashtags now, right? So put in the comment section, put 30 hashtags you have, and have two set of hashtags. 30, 30, put one hashtag here, one set of hashtags, and then after 4 or 5 hours, remove that and put the other set of hashtags, because in 4 or 5 hours, it reached that side, now this side as well, whatever your hashtags are. Have them ready so you can start applying them. This is one of the big strategy I've used, and it works really well. Until Instagram finds out. Use it, right? Use it. Use it. Right? So this is one of the things, right? All right, this is my favorite topic. Stories. Last week, my wife was going away for the weekend. She woke up in the morning, and me and my kids, we took her to the airport. We dropped her off at the airport. We came back, had a really cool breakfast with my 2 kids, jumping up and down at coffee club, sitting and sharing meals. After that, I took my kids to swimming, and on the way back, kids started saying that they want to have, what they wanted to have? They wanted to have McDonald's on the way back, so I was pretty generous. So stopped by at McDonald's, gave them a meal for lunch, and after that we went to play center. So pretty much the weekend went with the kids and doing all that what kids wanted to do. Nighttime, came home, fed them dinner, put them to bed. After that, I opened up a glass of wine, opened up a glass bottle of wine, and started having wine with myself, started watching TV until I went to bed at about 11:30, 12 o'clock. Wonder why I tell you this story.
Granite stories.
Yes. These were my stories on that day. And I pretty much do the same thing every day. Whether you like it or not, I do it every day. I started to do it for myself. One of the best thing I liked, the stories disappear after 24 hours. Right, which is the best thing. So you can do whatever you want to tell. You can be creative. You can tell stories. In 1975, there was a movie made by one of the biggest directors in the Hollywood, and there was a monster in the sea. That sea monster comes out every night and trying to bite the people who are in the water. And that sea monster, nobody's seen it. The director didn't show the sea monster at all. And it comes out every night in the dark and bite people and eat people, and everyone's scared in the water. They don't want to go in the water. It was released in 1975. Super hit movie. Does anybody know the name? The movie called Jaws. What a crappy movie if I look at it, right? There's nothing in that movie if you watched it. Nothing. The only thing good was in that movie, the storytelling. Storytelling. Nothing else. One spy who works for CIA, just goes out on assignments, tells his wife lie that he works in a sales and marketing, comes home and sees his wife trying to play or trying to hook with some other guy who pretended to be a CIA or a Secret Service agent. Got really pissed off, picked up that guy, punished him, whatever he wanted to do with that guy. But then he actually played a game with his wife. He told his wife that let's go and play this, and you have to help the CIA and do that. And he gone out and stopped all this Middle East and whatever the way the Hollywood put, say the terrorists are, and saved the country and did all that whatever he wanted to. At the end, he had to fly a big jet plane, land on the bridge, saves his wife from drowning into the sea. The guy couldn't even speak English properly. Super duper hit movie. Super duper. Absolutely. Right? What these movies have in common, they're stupid movies, right? But what happens is, it's just nothing else, just the stories. Just the stories, nothing else. If you learn the art of telling stories, if you learn that art talking to people in stories, kids will love you, everybody else loves you. Create a story. Learn how to create a story. Be creative. It's your Instagram, it's your way of doing it. Do whatever you do in a creative way. You are the director. Nobody is there. You have a camera. There was a time when you had to spend lots and lots of money and to get and to do a lot of things, right, in that sort of space. But now everything is available. So you have the camera, use it. Create stories. There's nothing out there. I love stories. Story is my best part, right? You know this very well, right? So find who's doing what you're trying to do and see who's out there who you can actually copy. What happens is time, right? There's two success rules and success principles out there. The people who've been successful, they always say to you, don't reinvent the wheel. Follow somebody who's been successful and just copy it. But when I looked back in my life, I actually got beaten up whenever I copied something from somebody. Right? You're trying to copy somebody, they're like, now you can't copy someone because you have to do something your own. So what happens is everybody trying to do their own way because we've been told so many times we can't copy. I'm not saying literally copy everything, whatever they've done, post their post as well. Exactly their Instagram looks like your Instagram or, vice versa. So don't do that way, but copy the idea, copy the, methodologies behind it. What they're doing, look for that. Have that inspiration from what they're doing so you can do the same thing as well. See what hashtags they're using. See what posts they're putting on. See who they're reaching out. One of the things which works really, really well with the Instagram world and at the moment as well, Instagram is really good with DMs. Who knows DMs? Direct messages. Instagram is really good with DMs. I get, not kidding, 30, 40 DMs. 30, 40 DMs. And some of them are no bots, but I get really genuine people asking for some genuine stuff. So do the DMs. I did a lot of DMs in my early time just because I didn't know that how to speak to people. You got direct access to people. There's no receptionist. There's no gatekeepers. You can directly talk to whoever you want to talk to. Ask them questions. People usually say, I want to work for you. Can you post this on your Instagram? Please don't do that for people because it's just because you're putting your image down. Don't ask these kind of favors, trying to get your brand out there and using or leveraging them to put your content out there. See what you can offer. Ask them the question. Questions like, give you an example. I'm based in Melbourne. I'm running my health and fitness business in Melbourne. Would you recommend me somebody who you think would really benefit? Who should I follow on Instagram? I don't know. Just ask somebody, right? These questions, right? Questions like that, right? So if you start asking these kind of questions, people will respond back. So you'll see that people talking to you directly. So start asking these kind of questions. Some of the questions might be, I'm new in the city. Can you suggest me something? Something, right? Start speaking to people. And these are my first tips, right? Tips are follow 40 to 60 users in an hour. When you start to build your Instagram, work on this strategy. When you start to build on it, work on this for a few hours in a day. Follow 40 to 60 users in an hour just for one reason, so that they can look at your profile and start follow you back. This technique was applied by Twitter a long time ago. Twitter people did all the same thing. If you see somebody in a Twitter world has got a lot of followers, they applied the same techniques. Because they follow somebody else, they just follow them back. Comment and like the similar post. Please get engaged. Don't do spray and pray. It's like you getting to a party. Think of that two scenarios, right? When you get to the party, you walk into a party and you stand up on the side and start talking about you. Just you, what do you do for business, what do you do for a job, who you are, and all that sort of stuff. But the way we do in a party is we go in a group, we stand up there, we listen to other people, what they're talking about, and they see where we can actually contribute. Do the same thing in there as well. Don't just stand up and start talking about you like you wouldn't actually do in public scenarios. You would only do that when you walk into people, listen to who's doing conversation, what kind of conversation they're talking, and just engage in that conversation and start putting your comment and anything out there. Follow the hashtags, whatever hashtag you have in your domain, your area of business, your area of personal interest. Follow those hashtags. Ask questions. In the comments, you can actually ask questions as well, right? Engage people. The best thing I've learned is ask questions. Rather than telling them, ask them a question so that they tell you, because people like to be acknowledged. Everybody likes to be acknowledged. So when you ask them a question, they'll give you a response back. What are you doing is engaging people in conversation. That's what I do in my email. And this is what I've learned as well along the way. In emails, if you look at my emails coming to you guys, it's going to start coming I'll ask a lot of questions. I'll say, what do you do? Can you respond back to this? And people respond back. Because if they like it, they'll respond back. What are you looking for? What's the end result for everything? What's the end result? Everything what we do. What we're looking to do is attention. We're looking for attention because people's attention is everywhere. If you have somebody's 3-second or 2-minute or 1-minute attention on you, that's it. That's what you're looking for. Follow your competition. Right? So if you follow them, you find out what they're doing, so you can actually apply the same strategy on you as well. Link your Facebook business page with your Instagram. Highly recommended. If you don't have a Facebook business page, please create one today. You need to have a Facebook business page. Who's got a Facebook business page? Yeah. If you don't have one, create a business page under your name as well. You don't need to have a business to do it. When you create a business page on a Facebook, that's the place you're going to start advertising it. That's the place people are going to start liking it, because Facebook got a limit that you can't have more than 5,000 friends. And the only way you can reach more people, you have to have a business page. That's Facebook is very clear, very blunt for everything. There's no more organic growth in Facebook. Right? One of the things which we don't do it enough, I think we're going to talk about it. Yeah. So call to action. So let's do a call to action on Instagram. If you have on Instagram call to action button, people can reach out to you with your phone and your email address, all that. You need to have a business account. So you switch to business account so you have that sorted out as well. Call to action, get tickets. I did it earlier, but this is untapped market. Let's talk about this very quickly, right? This is the biggest untapped market. Facebook is very crowded. This is my personal belief. Might not be true. I think Facebook is very crowded. I've tried spending. I spent about $3,000 $5,000 in January on Facebook ads, and I spent about $5,000 on Facebook ads again in February for my business. Because on 31st of January or 2nd of February, they changed that algorithm. My $5,000 which I spent on Instagram was completely waste of time. Money just absolutely gone. I didn't get any response. In the last month, I got so much response. Facebook did very differently now. The algorithm worked very differently. What worked really well for me, the Instagram ads and Instagram story ads. Do story ads. There's not that many people are doing it in the Instagram world at the moment. Use Instagram ads. Use for whatever you want to do with Instagram, because that works really well at the moment. Instagram is probably not that many people are there, and not that many people are using for business, I guess. That's probably the reason. It's not that famous, but when you, I think in next 6 months, they probably like 100,000 or people, everybody started to use it for business, then we might have the same problem what we have on Facebook. One of the biggest thing works really well, and this is applies to all of us, right? All of us. When we create a quality content, you don't need an ad. When your content is really good quality, people seek out. They'll follow you, they'll ask you questions, they ask you to train them in whatever you're teaching, whatever product you have, just because they don't want to go to the business world, they want to talk to real people. If you have a really good content strategy, you don't need an ad on top of that. If you have a small business, if you have a bigger business which is more than 300,000 or 500,000, along the content strategy you might need a Facebook ad or these ads as well, just on top of that, but you do not need at a startup business. So I thought I'd share with my schedule as well, right, what I do, so that you guys can have a bit of more insight what my posts look like. This is what I do today on Instagram, right? I post 4 posts daily, including videos and photos, and I've got about 5 to 30 stories per day. My next move, and this is just a secret, telling you guys, I haven't used it much. I'm a big believer of live. I do a lot of things live. This one running is also running live. I do a lot of lives on Facebook. I do a lot of lives on YouTube. I don't actually do lives on Instagram yet. So this is my next move, just because not that many people are doing live there. Everybody doing live on Facebook and YouTube. You need to do lives on Instagram as well. And that's my next move. You might want to do it as well, because that's what's happening out there as well. So let's recap everything, guys. This is my summary. Nothing works if you don't work. So this is not just a 1-day game or 2-day games or 3-day games. This is here for your life. So have a strategy for life. You can't just have something for a week or 2 days or 3 days and then think it's just going to work. Please, 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 please don't hire somebody to do the work for you. Please don't hire. One reason for that, at this level, don't hire. Because the people you're going to hire, it's not going to be here or some other part of the world. If you don't understand the strategy yourself, how are you going to tell other people to apply what sort of rules? Nobody cares about your Instagram. Nobody cares about your business, just because not as much as you do. Other people do care, but they probably not care as much as you do. So please don't hire somebody. I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in last few years trying to hire somebody to do the work for me. At the end, what happened? I developed my own strategy. Then I hired somebody to execute it. So you need to develop your own strategy, or hire somebody to help you develop a strategy so you can actually give some. There are 2 things out there. One is the people who develop strategies, the other people who actually implement the work or do the work. So don't let people who do the work to implement the strategy for you. So they are the doers and they are the people who do the strategies. So don't expect doers to develop your strategies. Learn, apply, and adjust. Have a schedule and post regularly. The only person stopping you to succeed in this game is you. Right? So this is a game, guys. Just play the way you would play any other game, right? So it's interesting, it's very open. You share your stories, you talk to people, share all that with other people, right? Share your life, depending which level you're at. Some people don't like to talk about private stuff, but it's entirely up to you. But be authentic about it, right? Whatever you do, don't hide away, because everybody knows what you do on social media. Some of the success stories, Instagram does it itself. You might want to just copy this link, and it's a business.instagram.com/success. Very good use cases for you guys to copy. There's a lot of people or businesses, those who are successful, and you guys can do it as well. They tell you exactly, they have a case study for many businesses what worked. And this is a URL for that. Just check it out. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. Any questions?
If they're following the 40 to 60 people in an hour,
Yeah.
do you then go and unfollow them, or do you just have this like huge following?
Look, for a long, long time, I did have about, say, 5,000 people I was following.
Yeah.
But what I did is then after that, I spent about a weekend to go through who actually like to follow in real, like, for now going forward. So I had to unfollow a lot of people after that. But I applied that after 6, 8 months. Yeah, I didn't actually do it, straight away.